Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land.
Greetings and welcome to our program, the wonderful history of Ambazonia. Today with me in the studios, we have our elderly statesman who did not study history in school, but lived history. And he is here to join me in announcing and broadcasting our Amba history. And so it is my pleasure to bring into the studios the one and only person who is a historian that did not, as I said, did not study history, but lived history in the person of Jutanga. So all of you join me to welcome Mr. Jutanga into the studio. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I am happy to be here with you once again to discuss the history of our nation, so that all our listeners can learn, or some of them can remember. So some people who were there when some of these events were happening can remember what happened when it happened. So, as usual, I am very happy to be here today, and I extend the salute to all our people back home, to our fighters too. They are doing a very great job of keeping the enemy at bay. So I encourage them to keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Jutanga, for that brief introduction and the possibility of Ambazonia definitely becoming what it should be as a result of the resilience and the steadfastness, and of course, according to God's word that says that you shall not remove the ancient landmark of your neighbor, of which the Republic has been trying to dismantle for the past 60 and above years. And when they could not do it in the fake diplomacy, lying diplomacy way that they started doing it, they came now with genocide, and they have not been able to do it with the genocide for the past 7 to 8 years. But today we are here because there is an important figure in the Ambazonian history called Mr. John Foncha, who told us in very clear terms that he followed Ahidjo because Ahidjo was promising verbally, swearing fire and brimstone, that he was never going to allow Ambazonia to become second-class citizens when we join together, and if things go on well, we will remain two countries of equal status. But finally, he resigned. Now, Mr. Jutanga, you have the story. Can you let us know exactly why he resigned? Over to you. The microphone is yours.
Well, it remains a mystery to many people why Ahijo resigned. But one of the leading stories, leading explanations, perhaps, is that he was told by his French medical doctors that he was getting to the end of his life, and it was advisable for him to arrange to transfer power to somebody else before he died, so that he shouldn't leave the country in chaos by just disappearing suddenly without any proper handover of power to somebody else. So I think he followed that advice, and he he handpicked his successor, who happened to be the present president of Cameroon. So I think it was because of the health concerns he had, and he was well. I think he was well intentioned when it comes to the country. He didn't want to leave the country in chaos, so he said he should do what he had to do to avoid any chaos in the country.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Could we say that Hijo's handing over to Paul Biya, well, we all know that was orchestrated by France. Uh, do we think that if Ahijo was still on the podium, Ambazonian would not have plunged itself into where we are today after Ahijo had left and Paul Biya took over?
Well, I don't know whether it would have resulted in a war. Ahijo apparently was more careful about the way he was going about his uh, his project of assimilation, because assimilation didn't start with Bia. It started right with Ahijo, right from the beginning. But Ahijo was resisting at least the pace at which the French wanted to assimilate us. He was resisting. I will give you an example. Uh, until Ahijo left power, Cameroon did not join the Franco-African Summit, which they call uh, Franc Francophonie. Yes, Cameroon did not join the Francophonie organization, where the French, the African uh, uh, French-speaking countries leaders would go up to France and hold their meetings and talk. He didn't join. He refused to join that, and his reason was that Cameroon was not completely French. Part of Cameroon was not a French territory, trust territory. So he doesn't see why he should join the Francophonie. Similarly, he didn't join the Commonwealth either. He stayed out of it. So, and the French were complaining that why is this guy not joining them, not bringing his country to join the others? Yeah, and he didn't do that until he left power, and then Paul Biya, when he came in, precipitated the process, and they joined both the Commonwealth and the Francophonie. So Ahijo, I wouldn't say he wasn't assimilating us. He was, but he was trying to do it as gradually as possible. Yeah.
Okay, let's go straight now to our topic. We are talking about our Amber history. We know that John Good Foncha was paddling the canoe and really believed that we were going to be what Ahijo was promising. And now tell us, you said you had two write-ups of why he resigned. Can you just go ahead and tell the Ambazonian people that a man of that caliber, after toiling with Ahijo, trying to make Southern Cameroons and French Cameroons come together as a beautiful nation, copying the status of Quebec and Canada. Now he suddenly gets up and gives in his resignation. A few days ago, I had to read the whole letter of his resignation from some writers at the home front. They copied and sent to me, and I had to read it a few days ago. Can you go ahead and then tell us in details why these statesmen had to table in his resignation to Paul Biya? Over to you.
Oh, to Paul Biya. Yeah, that's that's what I was just going to correct. You were talking of. I thought you were talking about leaving the Ahijo government. You're referring back to Paul Biya's administration. Well, I Dr. Fonchal left it was the CPDM party actually, because he had already retired as vice president and as prime minister, I think, when Fonja was still around. But when the party which they took over from Ahijo, the CNU, was still there. He was the chairman, or is it chairman? Yes, I think he was the chairman of the party, the party, the national party, the CNU. So he sought audience with the head of state, that is Paul Biya. He sought audience several times. He made several attempts to meet and talk to the head of state, and the head of state. I don't know whether the request actually reached the head of state. I would suppose it's the gatekeepers, the people surrounding Paul Biya, who just turn it down. I don't know. I cannot verify that. I don't have any way of verifying that. So in the end, Paul Biya couldn't obtain audience with the head of state. So he decided to resign, saying that it's because of his, as president of the national political party, he couldn't get audience. He couldn't get to talk to the head of state directly. So he thought that it was time for him to leave. That's why he resigned. And when he did resign, I think that the next chairman or vice chairman became the font of Mancon, the late font of Mancon, from Angwafo.
Wow. Now, you think that attitude that Paul Biya put on could have been exactly from him? Like you rightly said, we do not know whether it was the people surrounding Paul Biya that could not allow him have an audience with Dr. Foncha as the vice president of the whatever they were trying to come together. Foncha now in 1994 had to resign. Do you think that his resignation did mean anything to La République du Cameroon from changing their method of continuous attempt of assimilation, annexation, and domination on the people of Ambazonia?
Well, I am not sure whether it meant anything to them. They, they have a tendency to ignore our people, our leaders. So I think even there too, I don't know when uh, uh, Probia came to know about the resignation of Dr. Fletcher. I'm not sure it was immediately after he tendered his resignation that the head of state was informed. I'm not sure about that. So if he resigned, things just went on. They may have just waited until they found somebody else to replace him, and they announced the replacement of John Bufoncha without saying why they didn't have to, without saying why they were replacing him. Uh, they may not even have mentioned that it's because he resigned. No, they would not do that.
Okay. Now, let's get back to where we are right now. From the happenings that have been going on in Ambazonia in particular, but also seeing the surrounding countries that have suffered such a situation that we are suffering. What would you advise the Ambazonian people who every day, some of them are being deceived with large promises and with money that they never get, yet they are still being deceived to believing that we can stay together with La République du Cameroon?
Mm. I have heard it said often that if you deceive me once, it's your fault. If you deceive me twice, it's my fault. So if I continue to listen to your empty promises, then I am the one to blame, not you. So all those people who think that La Republic is going to change its way of treating us are wasting their time. La Republic is not going to change their ways of treating us. They will just continue to do as they have done so far. So we shouldn't listen to their promises because they are all empty promises. They will not fulfill them. They have not even fulfilled those they have made to their own people. I don't see them coming to fulfill those they make to Southern Cameroons or Amazonians. No way. So anybody listening to them is wasting their time.
Right. Ambazonians, anybody listening to La Republic of Cameroon is wasting their time.
Mhm.
Now, suddenly, they have there's arisen a number of La Republicans in the presence of people like Isomba Diodone, who is very well known, and of course Zongang, Albert Zongang, and some of those fellows who are now shouting and telling La Republique the history of Ambazonia and how it was a different entity from La Republique du Cameroon. Do you think that their messages now can be taken into consideration and can be acted upon to let La Republique people know that, truly speaking, Ambazonia, Southern Cameroon, was a different country altogether, and they tried to come together and it has not worked? Do you think that at this time that they are sounding the trumpet after having tried by every means to crush Ambazonians and it has not worked? Do you think that with what they are saying, it can convince Ambazonians to feel that they are now, soft-hearted and we can stay together? Over to you.
No, uh, those few voices that are pleading our case in La Republique are just lone voices in the wilderness. The rest of La Republique doesn't believe in what they are saying. They may know that what they are saying is true, but I don't think they have any intention of heeding to that and changing their ways. They will not.
Okay, they will not, because La Republique has a determination that they will conquer the people of Ambazonia and force them to live together. Now, we know, Mr. Joe, that uh, what is presently going on between La Republique and Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia is an ideology that is embedded in the people. From your little years of staying on this planet Earth and from moving around and studying other histories of some other countries, beginning right from America and the resistance to Britain and so on, have you ever heard and seen a country that struggled and they were actually forced to stay back together as they were before? And do you think that in this our modern day, with all that is truth and being revealed, we, the Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, we are going to stay together with the Republic of Cameroon as a result of their exerting the pressure and the lies that they are propagating all over the world to people to believe that we were one and indivisible?
Well, you started by mentioning ideology. Uh, the the idea of Amazonia is an ideology. You cannot suppress it. You cannot kill it. It can't die. You can kill the people, but you can't kill an idea. It stays. So no matter what they do, it's unlikely that we will stay together. One of the Secretary Generals of the United Nations, Jack uh, Jack Hamas Job, I'm not pronouncing the word correctly, said at the time the of the decision to make us live together with La Republique, he said this situation is like a balloon that has been suppressed and underwater. At some point, it will come to the surface. It will rise to the surface. This is the surface now that we have risen. The situation has risen to the surface. That balloon that was underwater is right out, and everybody can see that we were not supposed to be there with them. We were supposed to be on our own.
Yeah, there is a mystery that is seemingly hanging out there in the world, in that the people who are supposed to maintain peace and order and the people who had propounded laws, rules, and regulations for the protection of the oppressed and the suppressed by the bigger bodies, they are seemingly keeping quiet, and their only talk is we condemn, we condemn. And some of them are the ones that are actually supposed to take sanctions and implement issues. For example, in the days of Ban Ki-moon at the helm of the United Nations, he sent an envoy to La Republique of Cameroon with two framed maps of southern Cameroons and, of course, La Republique of Cameroon, making it very clear that we were two different countries that came together. What do you think is the instrument that is actually stopping these bodies that have power, but they are not using the power to solve problems as it was want and meant to be? What do you think is the mystery of these powers not taking action and not doing what they are supposed to do?
Well, we must realize that we live in a world where there's plenty of bias. Some people are favored over other people. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the our Americans stepped up and started providing them with arms and ammunition to support them to defend themselves. I mean, they gave those arms and ammunition to Ukraine to fight back, to drive away the Russians. You could have also asked, why didn't they give us? Well, it's because of that bias, that bias for which causes them to have concerns when there is trouble in certain parts of the world, and no concern at all when there is a similar trouble in other parts of the world. That that's how that's how the world works, and especially the United Nations is a very slow machine for all these reasons. They don't act fast. You see, South Africa took the case of Gaza, the fighting in Gaza, to the International Court of Justice just a few months after the fighting started. But we have been fighting for 7 years, and no one has thought that they could invite the International Court of Justice to come and look at something, or some other organization, or the Security Council. Nobody. So the it is a world of double standards. Yeah, they don't use the same yardstick to treat every case. They treat them separately, differently.
Wow. Yeah, from now it's very clear that the bias that is going on and the if I call it racial discrimination, I may not be very far from the truth of
Mhm.
calling it racism. But what surprises and really sets me aback is that South Africa is a country in Africa where we are going through this for 7 years, and they've never raised a voice to
Mhm.
talk about our situation at the ICG. And of course, our situation has gone through uh, a particular court in the
In
Gambia,
Banjul.
and
Banjul.
judgment was given. Come again?
In Banjul. That's the capital
In
of
Banjul,
Gambia.
Banjul,
Gambia.
and judgment was given. Then it went to the High Court in Nigeria, and judgment was given. And they call it now the AU is sitting down there with its article in the charter of the AU impeding and stopping another nation from invading another one. With all these organizations and with all their laws that they put down, uh, it still wonders me why, in broad daylight and very flagrantly, La Republique, with all impunity, is breaking such rules and such laws, and they are getting scot free. And it appears that lawlessness is now being very much accepted and endorsed. And we are here doing everything to make sure that we obey some of the conventions, like the Geneva Convention, when it comes to fighting, like, some rules and regulations. Do you think we will become wrong? I know that two wrongs cannot make a right. But do you think that we'll become wrong if we get into carrying out a kind of unconventional method of treating this rogue regime of La République du Cameroon in order to free ourselves? Or, as we have declared that we are paying allegiance to the Almighty, the creator of the heavens and the earth and mankind, do you think that our stance to follow these precepts gradually and with much caution is acceptable up till now in this fight that we are now going in to count the 8th year? Over to you.
Well, so far we have succeeded in keeping the enemy at bay without having to go into any unconventional ways of fighting. I would suggest that we keep it up and only intensify it. Let us not take the laws into our own hands and do things that will not be pleasing in the eyes of God and in the eyes of mankind.
Wow, wow, that's wonderful. Well, Ambazonians, you have heard from our elderly statesmen and from me, an elder also in Ambazonia, that we will not join to make two wrongs that cannot make a right. Somebody must be on the right path, and since everyone on the face of the earth knows of karma, of which It only comes from him who is unknown yet exists and has done and is doing what surprises people, that he will do it for us, because nobody in the whole wide world today will tell us Ambazonians that we have the strength enough of 20% of our population to fight 80% of La Republic of Cameroon. They would have crushed us in the 2 weeks that they promise. But to say that and to let us know that there is a supernatural power that stands on the side of those who are really, really doing justice, not only to themselves, but to the other people of the opposite side, he fights for them. And this should teach us a lesson, especially those of us who are still in this struggle, that those Ambazonians that thought that they could receive money and promises of positions from La Republic of Cameroon and step in to fight their own brothers, we have seen how far they have gone. They have just cooled down like ice water. And what we are advising them here is that if you cannot make it and it's not going, go the way of Mr. Foncha. In the course of Mr. Foncha's write-up for his resignation, he mentioned Mr. Esti Muna, who also was not contented, and out of the 14 members that were chosen to the constitutional reforms, 7 of them walked out, and Foncha and Muna were part of the people that walked out from that fake constitution that appeared in 1996. And today, some Ambazonians were taken up to continue the betrayal. And of course, we know where most of them have ended. I do not know what will be the story. They are dead and gone. And today, if we want to mention some of them, we mention them for evil. And you know that it's only those who did good and they are doing good that they will be remembered for the good that they have done to alleviate the terrible, the oppressive situation of their people. And now, Mr. Historian, we would like you to give a piece of advice to the Ambazonians who, after reading and hearing these stories that are not just formulated by us here, documents are there, have seen the good people of Ambazonia like Jongo Foncha, how they worked, and when it came to a point they could no longer bear it, they refused to sell their people because of their conscience. And they will have people like Mr. Achidiachu, who actually stepped in there and sold the people and stood the gap for Ambazonians to be crushed. And then the rest of them, like Nifrundi, like what Diangute is doing right now, because they all know the truth of what happened, like John Foncha put it out there. What advice will you give to the Ambazonians that are still available and alive today, especially an elderly statesman like Munzo, who was there forwarding at the AAC 1, AAC 2, and today he's kind of, hey, Cameroon is indivisible. But he was there on AAC 1 and 2, issuing out, memorandums of where we came from and where we are today, and saying we will not continue until money was given to him. We know of Jean Momo Didier, how he came out and spelled out the situation of Ambazonia very clear. But when he was promised the post of a minister like Kodok and the rest of the people, the story is long. Bribery and corruption And if you don't do it, they will slowly kill you as they kill Ngomjua. What advice are you telling the people of Ambazonia who have taken up the baton to fight this battle? And we, the generation, never again generation, have determined to go to Boya in following the steps of those who were righteous. Very few of them. What advice will you tell the people of Ambazonia in this fight? Over to you, sir.
I would advise the people of Amazonia to remain steadfast and continue to keep up the fight for our liberation and independence. There's no point trying to listen to what La Republique or their enablers are going to tell us, contrary to what we already know is the right thing for us. We know what we should do. The right thing is for us to find a way to liberate our country. So let's keep it up. That should only be our goal. Boya should be our goal. Our eyes should be on that, and that's the price we should try to reach. Let's not listen to La Republic people or pro La Republic Amazonians, because that will not help us. It will only weaken us. Let us stay on course, and God willing, we will get to Boya. And let the struggle continue until we get there.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today to share with us these tidbits. Now, the microphone is yours. Anything that you want to tell the Ambazonian people before you quit the studios and tell them, see you next time, the microphone is open. You can go ahead and tell the Ambazonian people what you want to tell them from your heart. And then you can tell them bye-bye for now, not forever, but just for now. Over to you.
Okay. Um, I've already said we should keep up the fight in our various ways. There are those who are on the ground fighting, and we salute them. I salute them. I have respect for them. Many of them are dying so that we can live a free people. I encourage other people to do their little widow's mites, make their contribution to the war chest. We need money to fight a war. We need the help of every one of us. Please do your draft, make your pledge, do your draft, and and redeem your pledge. Pay the money so that our fighters can get the assistance they want when they are wounded in the field. They can be taken to some place where they can be treated and so on. We need to do that until we get to Boya, and until we reach there, we haven't reached there. So I hope to come back and talk to you again one of these days. And until then, the struggle shall continue, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joe, for joining us in the studios today. It was and it is always our pleasure to hear from you because you are not just an ordinary person. You've passed through the regimes, and we want to really say that we appreciate your being here with us, and we wish you a wonderful weekend. And until next time that we'll meet in the studios, I would like to say bye for now. God bless you.
God bless you too.
And that was it from our beloved brother, our beloved elderly statesman, Mr. Chutanga. who actually has throttled the globe and has known a number of things that have been going on. And he comes in here to share with the Ambazonian people what we must and need to do. And the emphasis is to learn from the past. There is the evil past and there is the good past. Learn from the good past, because all those who have taken the evil past, they have ended up very miserably. And so, Ambazonians, it is on that note that we will call it quit for today, and looking forward to having you again on ABC Amba TV on our Amba history. Don't forget, do not leave this channel. Stay tuned for more programs on our ABC Amba TV. And of course, the last words of Mr. Jotanga is bring your contribution to the federal draft so that we can execute the genocide, defending ourselves as we have done in the past 8 years. God bless the people of Ambazonia, and stay tuned. Remember, ABC Amba TV needs your support. They support ABC Amba TV for our programs to remain continuously on the air. Thanks for watching and see you next. Bye.
Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, the celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious